So today I decided to run a speed test and a battery test between the iPhone 16 Pro Max and the iPhone 13 Pro Max. So yeah, this is the first time I'm doing something like this. So it's going to be different from the typical speed test you see on YouTube because I'll be using mostly Siri. Also, I believe speed tests are pointless because in actual reality you're not gonna see any difference, but when you bring the phone side by side, then you can see a difference, like a 5 seconds difference. Yeah, I'll be using mostly Siri, and let's start. So first of all, I'm maxing out the screen brightness, so I'm using both. Set screen brightness to 100%. Also, it looks to me like, I don't know if you can also tell from the camera, it looks to me like the 13 Pro Max is brighter than the 16 Pro Max. So the 13 Pro Max goes up to 1000 nits brightness. Also, the 16 Pro Max is supposed to go to 1000 nits, but it does look like the 13 Pro Max is brighter than the 16 Pro Max. So what I would do is try to match the brightness together, or try to match the brightness of both phones together, and yeah, I think this looks close, so I don't know. And also, I don't know why the 13 Pro Max display looks brighter indoors, especially when you max out the brightness. So I don't know, but yeah. Also, I'm going to set the display to stay on. So open settings. So I'm just gonna go scroll down to display and auto lock and set that to never. So yeah, the display does look like matched to me. So yeah, go back to home, open Geekbench 5. Oh wow, it does look faster on the 13 Pro Max. Interesting. Open Geekbench 6. It does look faster on the 13 Pro Max again. Wow, look at that. Open Geekbench 5. So also, the reason why I'm using Siri and not going with my hand is because it's more accurate to just use the power of the neural engine and to use Siri, you know. It's more accurate than just to freaking rely on my fingers, and I could have a second delay or something. So yeah, let's run a Geekbench score. You know what, let's run a Geekbench score on 5. Open Geekbench 5. Also, for the battery test, I'm going to make sure it is very intense. So, and I know it's going to be difficult to kill the phone, and yeah, so that's why I'm making it intense, like 4K 60 FPS HDR recording, and I tried to max the display, but it does look like the 13 Pro Max's display is brighter than the 16 Pro Max indoors. So I'm just gonna make sure they're set to the same brightness with my eyeball. I'm just gonna eyeball it, and yeah, run the test, and yeah, still at 100%. They were both unplugged from the charger at the same time. So yeah, let's see. The 16 Pro Max is nearly done. Look at that. This is some speed test right here. So yeah, done. Already done. It took 1 minute and 30 something seconds to finish. So Yeah, look at that. And this is what we get for Geekbench 5 on the 16 Pro Max. And this is what we get for the 13 Pro Max. You get 2,424 for single core on the 16 Pro Max. And you also get 6,533 for multi-core score for the 16 Pro Max. And for the 13 Pro Max, you get 1,755 for single core. And for multi-core on the 13 Pro Max, you get 4,869 for multi-core score. Yeah, impressive numbers. Like the 13, let's see, for single core, right? Your device, it doesn't show the average for the, because Geekbench moved to Geekbench 6. So yeah, well, the 13 Pro Max is still like up there. But like a more realistic Geekbench score would be Geekbench 6. So let's do that. Open Geekbench 6. So we're gonna run the same test at the same time. Go. Just gonna lift down the side here, so. And as you can see, the 13 Pro Max is already at 99%. And the 16 Pro Max ended at 420 or something like that. And the 13 Pro Max is still going. And this is what we get for the score. We're just gonna wait for the 13 Pro Max to finish, so. Yeah, and the 13 Pro Max is done. So for the 16 Pro Max, we get 3,435 for a single core score, and for multi-core score we get 8,396. Wow, that is some impressive scores compared to the 13 Pro Max. So for the 13 Pro Max, we get for single core score 2,418, and multi-core score we get 5,942. Yeah, that is some impressive score still. But like for the 13 Pro Max, I've gotten higher score than that. Let's see single core. Right, the 13 Pro Max, my 13 Pro Max is way above the average. So yeah, that's some impressive stuff right there. And it's also closer to the 14 Pro Max. So yeah, multi-core score, it doesn't show average for the 16 Pro Max, probably because it's still new or something. And look at this, I'm way above the average for the 13 Pro Max. And the 16 Pro Max is like, has a higher score than the M1 iPad Pro. It's crazy, from 2021, right? The M1 iPad Pro, like that is some insane number right there. Like the A18 Pro on the 16 Pro Max is more powerful than the M1 iPad Pro. That's crazy, bro. It's insane. And for the battery, you can see the 16 Pro Max is still at 100%. And the 13 Pro Max is at 98%. And also, I did not mention this, the battery health for both phones at 100%. So let's do this again. Open settings. So yeah, the battery health is about at 100%. So yeah, that's some impressive stuff. But still, the 13 Pro Max is still behind the 16 Pro Max. So open Antutu. No, looks like I have to update to the latest version. Update. It's still taking longer for the 16. Wow. Look at that. They both finished at the same time. Wow. Okay. So I'm gonna do this again. Open Antutu. 16 Pro Max was faster with that one. So we're gonna run a test again, and yeah, let's see. In 3, 2, 1. So there's up here, the 16 Pro Max is already done. So, and now the 13 Pro Max is done. So for the 16 Pro Max, we ended up with 94% battery, and as you can see, the display on the 13 Pro Max just jumped back up because the display went down, or the bright, and the 16 Pro Max too now. So we ended up with 94% on the 16 Pro Max and 92 on the 13 Pro Max. And we had this score, so yeah, like it looks like just a 400,000 gap between both scores. That just shows you how good the 13 Pro Max is still in 2025. So yeah, like most the scores are close except from the GPU scores, because I think the 16 Pro Max has one more GPU core than the 13 Pro Max. So yeah, and the 13 Pro Max display just went back up again. So yeah, these are some insane numbers. Now I'm going to do something more insane. I'm gonna start the video recording. So, but first of all, open settings. I'm gonna make sure HDR is on for the cameras. Yeah, we have HDR on. So I'm gonna record at 4K 60. So, and for the 13 Pro Max, I have less storage, so whenever the 13 Pro Max fills up its storage, I'll end the video recording and then we'll move to YouTube. So open camera, and we're gonna do it with the rear because, as I said, it's going to be intense. So yeah, if I do ProRes, it's going to fill up fast. So yeah, the storage is going to fill up fast. So I'm just gonna do 4K 60 HDR, and yeah, let's go. Also, we started the test with 93% on the 16 Pro Max and 92% on the 13 Pro Max. So and let's see. So on the 16 Pro, bro, both phones are hot. Like, so on the 16 Pro Max, holy smokes, look at that, bro. I did 30 FPS instead of 60 FPS. Holy smokes. I just set the 13 Pro Max to 30 and forgot the yeah, that was a mistake. So I'm gonna delete both. Open YouTube. "4K 60 FPS HDR." And as you can see, the display on the 13 Pro Max is dimmer than the 16 Pro Max. 3, 2, 1, go. Yeah, okay. Make sure your whole set to 60 FPS and So after about like 30 minutes of YouTube 4K 60 FPS HDR, we have 80% on the 16 Pro Max and 77% on the 13 Pro Max. Open camera. So I'm going to I recorded the last one for about 15 minutes. So I'm going to record this now for the same time. So 30 FPS, 60 FPS for about 15 minutes. Let's go. So we've gotten to the 15-minute mark, and now let's see what we have. Holy smokes. So we have 75% for the 16 Pro Max and 71% for the 13 Pro Max. Even with me switching the 16 Pro Max to 30 FPS or 60 FPS and the 13 to 30 FPS, it still doesn't. Even still, like somehow I don't understand what's going on. Like the 16 Pro Max is recording at 30 FPS, so something must be wrong. And the 13 Pro Max is recording same as 30 FPS, but it has a higher. I don't understand what's going on. Like, we're gonna do this again. We're gonna do 60 FPS for 15 minutes and another 30 FPS for the 13 Pro Max. So let's see. So it's been about 15 minutes now. So I'm just gonna stop the recordings, and hopefully this time it was all recorded in 60 FPS. I hope. But looking at the battery percentage, we have 67% on the 16 Pro Max and 65% on the 13 Pro Max. That looks like an actual representation of what it should look like. So let's see. Finally recorded in 60 FPS. Like, okay. And this was in 30 FPS. Good. Now I'm going to run Geekbench 6 test again to add more stress to the battery. Open Geekbench 6. Look at that, the 16 Pro Max is glitched. And now we're gonna run the test again. So 3, 2, 1, go. So this is the score we get on the 16 Pro Max, and this is the score we get on the 13 Pro Max. Open camera. So my video was interrupted before, but we still have 55% and 52%. So I'll be running the same 4K 60 FPS and run that until the storage of the 13 Pro Max is full or filled up, and then continue. Open and to benchmark. So after the test, we have 34% and 31%. So basically, the reason I'm doing it this way is to like kill the phone, because I'm not trying to stay here the whole day, right? I've been doing this the whole day, so I'm trying to kill the phone.
My heart rages around like an ocean in my head because there are so many things that I left unsaid. I can almost feel you walking in the distance, but I know that is not reality. If you are echoing around inside these parallel dimensions all alone, know I'll find you in my dreams. My heart rages around like an ocean in my head. I can almost feel you walking in the distance, but I know
The iPhone 13 Pro Max just died. 4 hours 47 minutes. And how much? 4% left on their 16 Pro Max. Wow. Literally since like 12 p.m. Like, yeah, it's still going. I'm still waiting. 1% still. 1% still. Look at that. The display dimmed. The display's dimming. The display's dimming. And I have freaking, what's it called? Turned off. Auto brightness, bro. This is another thing with a 16 Pro Max. Like, the display dims like that. That's a bug or something. That's like a glitch. The display dims. Not even like dim because it's too hot, bro. It dims like auto brightness dimming. It just died. The display dims when you have auto brightness turned off, bro. I don't understand that. Like, it dims like you have auto brightness turned on. Phone just died. Wow, that's like 10 minutes after the 13 Pro Max, which is insane. Insane. Like, bro, all my days, bro, since literally 12 a.m. or 12 p.m. I keep saying a.m. 12 p.m. or 11:57 p.m. a.m. 11:57 a.m. Like, this is insane. Literally like 10 seconds, 10 minutes difference between the 13 and the 16. Like, it's crazy. And on the Apple website, it says the 13 Pro Max get 28 hours and the 16 Pro Max gets 33 hours. So like a 5 hours difference, right? On Apple's, like, this is what I am saying. The 13 Pro Max is, bro, it's 2025, right? It's already 2025 and still almost a 4-year-old 13 Pro Max is almost outperforming, or it is keeping up to the new 16 Pro Max. Like, that is just insane. That is just some insane stuff right there. And in my real world test, like, they last the same time. Like, at the end of the day, I end up with similar close battery percentage. So like, what's the point of keeping or having the 16 Pro Max if I already have a 13 Pro Max with 100%, and my 13 Pro Max is at 94 charge cycles and my 16 Pro Max is at 27 or 28 charge cycles. So like, they're so similar. The only difference, higher resolution camera, 48 megapixel on the back camera, or high-res camera, capture button on the sides, USB-C, always on display, and literally that's it, bro. Like, and also I would also give credit to the 16 Pro Max. Like, the efficiency, the heat management has been improved, right? So like, as you can see during the test, the 13 Pro Max was dimming way more than the 16 Pro Max. Like, the 16 Pro Max had their brightness kept up to the max the most. The 13 Pro Max was dimming the display a lot. So there's that. Like, the efficient, like, if you max out your display brightness and you're outdoors in like a sunny place, super sunny, almost 40 degrees Celsius in like the summer or something, your 16 Pro Max is going to keep their display brightness high as long as possible, longer than the 13 Pro Max. And that is what I have noticed and realized with my use of both devices. So yeah, in that sense, like, they are so similar, bro. And the other thing is Apple Intelligence. If you care about AI, then the 16 Pro Max is for you. But if you just care about normal use, bro, like, bro, just get a new battery, bro. Just get a new battery for your the fact that this phone is almost 4 years old, 2021, and this phone is 2024 in 2025, and the 2021 phone with an A15 Bionic is keeping up, bro. And there's just 11, like, if I did the test just like other people do, like battery tests with YouTube and everything, bro, like, it would last longer for sure. Like, it would last hours. Like, the battery on this thing is insane. But my whole point was just to show you guys that, like, the battery on both devices are very similar, if not the same. Like, yeah, like the 16 Pro Max might last longer than the 13 Pro Max if you compare them both together, bro. But like, it's just like by a couple of like, just like 2% or 3%. Like when the 13 Pro Max died, it died at 0%, and the 16 Pro Max had like maybe 3% or 4% or something left, bro. Like that is like a real world, that is as close as you get. So like the both phones are very similar in terms of battery, bro. So like that is why I'm like, if I am switching to, I just hit the camera, if I am switching to like a new phone or a new iPhone or a new whatever, like the phone has to offer me just more. It has to offer me more than I already have now. And sadly for me, the 16 Pro Max, as you can just see in the battery test, the only thing I could say like I like about the 16 Pro Max is USB-C and maybe always on display. But that is not really like, they would have to like do more for me to like be swayed to like just ditch my 13 Pro Max right now. So yeah, like this is crazy, yo. Like in my normal test, like I knew like, bro, the phone felt the same in my normal use. Like the phone just felt the same, like in terms of battery I was getting the same time. And Apple said their 16 Pro Max lasts 5 hours longer. Like they made it to be like it was significant, it was like a substantial significant upgrade, bro. They made it feel like it was like the jump from the 12 Pro Max to the 13 Pro Max. And as you can see in the test, the 13 Pro Max is like 3% behind their 16 Pro Max. So like they're and I have 94% charge cycle and 27% charge cycle. Like, you know, if it was both 0%, if it was 0 charge cycle, probably the 13 Pro Max would have won or something. So like very, very similar. So like there is not much else I could say. Like I wish the 13 Pro Max had USB-C, just USB-C, and probably always on display. But if it just had USB-C, like this would like be one of the best iPhones. Still, it's still one of the best, but it would like literally still be up there with the new 16 Pro Max. The reason the new 16 Pro Max is called the best iPhone is because it's the new stuff. So but the 13 Pro Max from 2021, bro, like this is what I am saying with Apple, bro. They make good phones, right? And like you can like try comparing a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old Android phone to like the new Android phone right now. It's not even something that comes close. But the iPhone, even just the iPhone 11 from 2019, almost 6 years ago now, like it's still up there, bro. It's still up there with the battery and everything, bro. Like this is what I'm saying with Apple, bro. So like they're so similar, they're almost the same. Like just what, 11 minutes or 0% and 4-5% difference. Like yeah, don't waste your money. Do not waste your money. Sometimes buying the new thing is not the wisest thing to do, or is not even worth it sometimes.